friends, it's Ms Dina, and I have this book about bugs. How many bug lovers do I have out there, right? Ms Dina doesn't mind some bugs, but there's others that I really don't like. So we're going to go through this book, not the whole thing because it's a pretty thick book, but since we are studying insects, I wanted to talk about some of the things in regards to insects. So first of all, it says, what is a bug? Dig into the undergrowth and peek under logs, and you are bound to find the tiny, extraordinary, creepy crawlies for our world commonly known as bugs. Okay? Bug groups. Bugs can be divided into 6 groups based on differences such as the number of legs they have. If you count a bug's legs, you can probably name its group. The insect group includes many species from beetles and bees to flies and ants. So, insects is what we've been studying. There are at least 1 million species. They have 6 legs. So the main way to tell if a bug is an insect is to count its legs. 6 legs means it's an insect. They have wings. Most have 2 pair, if they have wings. Diet. Some eat meat, some eat plants, and some eat both. Okay, the other bug groups are arachnids, which are known as spiders. Then you have centipedes and millipedes. Ms. Dina doesn't like those. They're just gross to me. Then you have wood lice. They have 14 legs. Over here, the millipede says up to 750 legs. Can you imagine? What if you had to put shoes on all those? Then there are segmented worms. So if you think about your fishing worms, and they don't have any legs. And then land slugs and snails. And again, they don't have legs either. Okay? So we're going to focus on insects. Skip this page. But some bugs have skeletons. We're going to briefly go over this. This is the Hall of Fame. These are loud ones, smelly ones, some very strange looking ones. Some meet the record holders of the bug world. So you've got the smallest bug, which is a tiny fair fly. It's no bigger than this period at the bottom of the sentence. You can see that little period right there. So this is magnified so you can see it, but the actual bug is only that big. The most painful sting. The sting of a bullet ant causes a burning pain that lasts for 24 hours. Oh my goodness. I don't know if you've ever been stung by something. I wouldn't want it to last for 24 hours. That would be crazy. Shortest adult life. Any one kind of mayfly lives for only 5 minutes as an adult. Wow. The most legs. One type of millipede has 750 legs. That's more than any other animal in the world. And again, if you had to put shoes on those, that would be crazy. The most incredible journey. In autumn, monarch butterflies fly from the northern United States to Mexico to hibernate. So they fly all the way from up here in Canada and come all the way down to Mexico. The heaviest insect, the giant weta, is as heavy as a small bird. Okay, so that weighs about as much as a small bird. The stinkiest bug. If a stink bug is disturbed, it releases nasty smelling liquid. That's why when you squish a stink bug, it stinks. The longest insect at 22 inches long is longer than this book is open wide. So this is only part of the bug. It's actually longer than this entire book for one bug. Then the longest head, the giraffe-necked weevil, has a huge neck compared to its body. See? Looks like a giraffe neck, but it's a bug. The loudest bug on the land, and you probably are hearing them right now because they're the 17-year cicadas where the larvae dig in the ground and stay there for 17 years and then they emerge. And so right now they're coming out of the ground and they're making a very, very loud racket. But the loudest bug on the land is the cicadas. It's as loud, the click of the cicada is as loud as a chainsaw. That's pretty crazy. So let's check out some more about insects. You can spot an insect easily if it stays still, but often it doesn't. All insects have a few things in common that will help you identify them. What was the first thing we said that an insect has? 6 legs, yes. So, the head is the top of 3 body parts. It includes antenna, eyes, and mouth parts. Okay, so it has the head. So here you've got the head, and this is called a wasp, which is interesting. Never knew that. I thought it was antenna, but they're calling it a wasp. Then the legs and wings are attached to the middle part of the body, or the thorax. Okay, so you have the head, and then the thorax is this middle section. And you say thorax, thorax. And then this bottom part is called the abdomen. And the abdomen holds the insect's heart and other organs. Did you know that bugs have hearts? They're probably really teeny, teeny, tiny too. Okay? All right. Here are some insect facts. Crickets hear through their knees. What? Pick up your knee. Can you hear through your knee? No, that's silly. But crickets can hear through their knees. The coldest insect, the Weddell seal louse, lives on seals that make their home in Antarctica. And do you know in Antarctica, it's very, very cold. The worst venom. The harvester ant has the most toxic venom of all insects. So don't mess with those harvester ants. The best jumper. A cat flea can jump 100 times its own height. Wow. A flea is like this big, but it can jump like 100 times. I don't even know what that would be, but it can jump pretty far for a flea. All right, insect species is one unique type of living thing. This pie chart shows how insects are divided into different species. Okay, so I'm going to come closer so you can see the chart. All right, so you have dragonflies and relatives, are this little section here. Bees, wasps, and ants. True bugs, so it'd be like your stink bugs and stuff. Beetles, butterflies and moths, flies, crickets, and grasshoppers. Okay, so these are all, and then all others. So these are kinds of insects. Okay, so look at that. These are all insects. Pretty cool, huh? If you can see that, there's the little flea. There's a human flea, so I guess that one jumps on humans. Then you got fruit flies, and you've got honeypot ant. Look how round its abdomen is. Pretty cool. And you got the kind of stink bug here. You've got South American cockroach, la cucaracha. There's a leaf insect. How cool is that? It looks like a leaf. A leaf insect. So it's just all kinds of insects. Alright. Insects are the only bugs to have wings. Although not all insects have them, flying is a great way to get around or to escape danger. Flying insects have 2 pairs of wings, which they use in many ways. Okay? So some have darting wings, which a lace wing moves its force, fore and hind wings independently, helping it change direction quickly. Okay, so those are kind of darting. That's why you see, like, dragonflies that are just sort of kind of flapping wings. A butterfly's front wings hook onto its back wings, so they move together in a slow flap. Steering sticks. A fly uses 1 pair of wings. The other wings, called halters, are used for steering. That is interesting. Did not know that. Wing cases. A beetle flies with 1 pair of wings. The other wings are hard cases that protect the flying wings when not in use. So if you notice a ladybug, the top part is hard, and then underneath they have this other kind of wing. Okay. Then you have quick wings. The hoverfly is one of the fastest wing flaps. It can beat its wings more than 1,000 times per second. That's a lot. The speedy flyer. Hawk moths are among the fastest flyers in the insect world. They fly at 15 miles per hour. This little guy right here can fly 15 miles per hour. That's pretty fast. All right. Then we have creepers and leapers. So we have our grasshoppers. Let's see. A grasshopper is disturbed. It uses its powerful back legs to launch itself into the air. Its back legs are longer and stronger than its other legs. Okay. Then you have a jumper. So like the flea, they jump. This one is walking on water. The water strider can walk across water. It stretches its legs wide, and tiny hairs on its feet keep it from sinking. And then we talked about this, the burrower. So remember the cicada? After a cicada hatches, the nymph baby burrows underground and lives there for 17 years. And this is what is coming out here recently, are the 17-year cicadas. So they've been hiding underground for 17 years, and now they're coming out. So that's kind of interesting. Here's an interesting fact. Caterpillars use some of their 4,000 body muscles. We only have about 700 muscles. A caterpillar has 4,000. To slide themselves along, they have short, clawed legs that grip leaves. See their little legs down here? All right. I'm going to skip feeding time other than to say some insects are busy eating plants. Others are just as busy eating one another. So I'm just going to leave that there. Defense. Insects have a lot of predators. Many animals eat them. Other bugs eat them, and there are even plants that eat them. Some insects have built-in ways to avoid becoming lunch. So, we talked about camouflage. So there's disguise. One way to keep from being eaten is to look like something else. Some mantises look just like orchid flowers. This camouflage also keeps them hidden from their prey. So if you can see right here is the praying mantis that looks just like this orchid flower. Okay. Then there's one, it looks like bird poop. Okay, so nobody wants to eat that. This one has thorns. And this one has scary eyes, it looks like, so no one would eat that. And this one blends in, it looks like a stick. So those are some interesting things. And this one is poisonous. All right, this is kind of cool. Can you see the hidden thing in there? Can you see it? Look really hard. At first glance, it appears that there is nothing but moss on these pages. But look very carefully and you'll see a katydid, which lives in the rainforest of Costa Rica and Central America. So did everybody see it? I'll point it out to you. It's right there. See? There's its head and its legs. Yes, very sneaky. One thing insects are very, very good at is making more insects. Most lay eggs and many lay a lot of eggs. So some lay them on the water, like mosquitoes. Some lay them in clusters, like butterflies. This giant water bug carries its eggs around on its back until they've hatched. Let's see. That's pretty much it. Then we'll talk about metamorphosis. Can you say that word? Metamorphosis. That's a big word. So this is the metamorphosis of a butterfly. So that means it's the change, the process of change of a butterfly. Okay? So it starts out as an egg. A swallowtail butterfly starts its life as an egg. It takes about 8 to 10 days for this to hatch. Then you have a little hatchling. And when it emerges, it eats its own shell, eggshell, and it begins to eat the leaf that it was sitting on, so it starts to grow. Okay? Then it begins to shed its skin because it's getting bigger and bigger, so it needs to grow. It has to mold or shed its skin several times as it becomes bigger. After about 6 to 7 weeks, the caterpillar finds a safe place and it uses strands of silk that it makes in its body to attach itself to a plant. So it's going to attach itself to that stem. Okay, we see here. So now we call this the pupa. You say pupa. So it sheds its skin once more and then it becomes a pupa. So inside its chrysalis, or protective covering, an amazing change is about to take place. About 2 to 24 weeks, depending on the time of year, the chrysalis starts to split and the butterfly climbs out. Its wings are folded against its body. Now, when it comes out, the butterfly spends several hours stretching its wings and waiting for them to dry and strengthen before it can fly. So when it first comes out, it can't fly because its wings are wet. Okay, so it has to spend several hours for it to dry. And after they dry, the adult butterfly is now ready to fly away. It finds a mate and the cycle starts all over again with an egg. How cool is that? All right, we're going to do one last thing. I'm not going to go through all of the things here. There's one page I wanted to show you, if I can find it. So one of our things that we were talking about is how do bugs help the earth? Okay. So if humans left Earth, life would continue as normal. But if bugs left, our planet would be a very different place. We depend on bugs more than you think. So let's talk about how they help us. Lots of animals eat bugs to survive, and that includes us. About 80% of the world's population eats insects. Okay, so it's food for some people. Pest control. Aphids eat plants that humans also like to eat. So farmers let ladybugs loose on their crops. The ladybugs gobble up the aphids and leave more food for us. So ladybugs eat the bad bugs and save the crops. Okay? Many types of bugs help clean up the earth. If we didn't have bugs breaking down dead matter, there would be a lot of rotting mess laying around. So for example, when you see roadkill, okay, on the side of the road or like in the grass part, something has to happen to that. Like it's just gonna lay there and just rot and smell. Well, flies lay their eggs on dead animals. When the maggots hatch, they eat all the dead flesh. The millipedes eat the rotting leaves, then they poop the nutrients from that back into the soil. Okay, so millipedes are good, even though I don't like them, because they are putting nutrients back into the soil. And a stag beetle larvae eat the wood of dead trees, which helps clear land for new trees to grow. So it helps us find the dead trees. And then we've talked about bees before. Bees are important because they spread pollen from flower to flower when they collect nectar. The pollen enables the flowers to make seeds. Okay? And those seeds helps us to grow our food. Now I want to read this page. This is an interview with an entomologist. Can you say entomologist? Entomologist. His name is Dr. George McGavin, and an entomologist is an expert on insects. So they did an interview, which means somebody asked the questions and then he answered. Okay, so I'm going to read this interview. The question is, when did you become interested in bugs? He said, as a child, I loved animals. Then I realized that bugs were right on my doorstep. You don't need to travel anywhere to watch bugs. They are everywhere. Okay, next question. How did you become an entomologist? And he said, I studied zoology, the study of animals, at Edinburgh University and the Natural History Museum in London, UK. Question. What is your job like? Is it fun? And he said, I get to travel to rainforests, deserts, islands, and mountains looking for and studying insects and filming them for TV. There are so many extraordinary bugs that do so many interesting things that they never get boring. I have the best job in the world. Question. Have you ever eaten any insects? Answer. Yes, often. Many people in the world eat insects as part of their daily diet. They are very good for you, and some taste surprisingly good. Do you think you would ever eat a bug? I don't think so. Personally, I don't think so. Question, are there any bugs that taste really bad? And he said, after the silk has been removed from the silk moth pupa, the Chinese boil up the pupa and eat them. To me, they taste absolutely awful. Question, if you had a bug restaurant, what would you put on the menu? He says, black African crickets fried in a little oil and garlic. Delicious. Question, what is the most painful bite or sting you have received? He said, being bitten by a swarm of army ants was very, very painful. But the most painful single sting was from a scorpion. Ouch. Question, have you discovered any new insects? He says, yes, many. There are so many undiscovered species out there. That's what makes expeditions so exciting. So far I have had an ant, a shield bug, a plant hopper, and a cockroach named after me. And last question, do you have any favorite bugs? He said, I love them all, but if I had to pick one species, then I would say bees, because they are so important to our world. Without bees helping to pollinate them, many plants would die out completely. Okay? So that confirms that bees are so important. So if you don't have to kill them, don't kill them, because they are what we get our fruits and vegetables from. Well, I hope you enjoyed this adventure on bugs. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See you next time.